Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to this video, and welcome to Baligas. I have traded my office. No, my office is actually in there, but I figured, hey, let me do this outside next to the pool. So basically, brought my mic here. Anyway, in this live today, I want to address something very dear and very important to me, which is how you can make more money as an employee. Because a lot of you guys who are watching this channel or watching channels like mine, for example, on the internet, are people who are still employees. You still have a job, and you're trying to make more money. And this video, I think that this video is going to be uh, hopefully more helpful than all the stuff that you've seen so far, because it's going to be very honest. Okay, so the first thing I have to say about this. So, how do you make more money as an employee? Um, I just want to establish something is something that's really like annoying me and really pissing me off. I usually don't get into those kind of like arguments or something, but the fact that on the internet, if you go to any YouTube channel or anything, people are going to tell you that if you are an employee, you are an idiot. Right? That, oh, you shouldn't be an employee. Only CEOs make it, and you should be ashamed of yourself. I hear even people saying, some idiot that I saw somewhere saying, "Oh, if you don't make $100,000 a month, then you're a nobody. You shouldn't be able to look at yourself in the mirror or something." Okay, so my problem with the industry right now, as it's going, is that people are being shamed for being an employee. So you're basically shaming someone and bad mouthing someone because they have a job. Because every morning they get up and they go at work to be able to provide for their family, to be able to provide for themselves. And the only thing that you hear is, "Oh, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be doing this." I am very sorry that all of you guys have to go through this stuff. Please know that there are some people who respect you. I respect the hustle. I respect people who get up every single day and they go do what they have to do to provide for their family. Okay, so that's the first thing. You're not gonna see on my channel stuff that's gonna tell you the entrepreneur mindset, the CEO mindset, and the employee mindset. This is complete bullshit. Okay, so that's my like problem. So I remember this guy who posted something, or this girl, but I know it's a guy who's behind the account anyway. He posted something on LinkedIn saying basically like stupid stuff. Oh, all the billionaires are CEOs. All the richest people are athletes. All the blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, like this is not true. Like it is not true. Uh, for example, I will give you an example. We first have to define what is an employee, okay? Because Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he's an employee. I'm sorry, he did not found the company. He is an employee, right? He's just the highest paid employee in the company, but he is an employee. So you need to also understand the difference between founder CEO and CEO. There are a lot of companies like Google. Did the guy actually create Google? No, he's an employee. Same at Microsoft. Same at Apple. All these companies that you see, Coca-Cola, all that kind of stuff. So stop shaming people, please. And then whoever's watching this, if you're in the entrepreneur and in the info space, please stop this. People go to work every single day. They have bills to pay and everything. They do everything they have to do. They're responsible people. Now, if they stay on the couch and they're just scratching their butt and not doing anything, yeah, maybe you can say something. But you should not be here and tell people who have a job, a respectful job, and they go every single day to perform that job, to provide for their family, that, oh, they're second class citizens. Okay, so that's one thing that really annoys me with the whole industry here is all these people, they're just saying the same thing, right? Because they've all seen one sales video of someone who obviously has something to sell you, right? So they will find something that that gullible people are just going to take as a truth. Oh, yeah, there is a CEO, there's the employee. Okay, now I'm going to ask you something like, how many CEOs have never been employee before? You know what I mean? So they all went through like being an employee, and there is no shame in being an employee, right? Because at the end of the day, being the CEO that everybody, because CEOs, they get on billboards and stuff. So being the CEO, you have the stress, you have the risk, you have the 24-hour availability and 24-hour, your brain is running 24 hours. Some people just don't want this, right? They just don't, right? And it's not a crime or anything like this. It's a lot of pressure. People are just telling you about, oh well, when you're a CEO, it's all like flowers and rainbows. It's not. There is a lot of stuff that goes wrong all the time, and it's very hard to disconnect. And some people just don't want it, right? And some people are employees. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or a CEO, whatever. It really should not matter. Okay. So anyway, so now that we have defined something, which is an employee. What is an employee? I'm very sorry, but there are some people who are like employees, and they make like millions of dollars. I told you, all the CEOs of all these big companies. Okay. Well, so right now it's not your case. So the first thing that I wanted to establish here, because again, it's a platform. I have a little bit of time. I like to share what I think, and probably stuff that you don't hear enough. You just hear that you're an idiot and stuff. We'll go into kind of like how you can make more money, and I want to shift your perspective to something as well. Is the industry, again, as I said, is kind of like everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody is telling you that you need to start a business and leave everything behind, and it's much better for you, and everything. So you think that the only way for you, or maybe it's no, I'm saying this, it's an assumption, simply because and I have to acknowledge this, is you have to understand how powerful algorithms are. Okay, the algorithm is going to show you what you want to see and what you've been searching. So my algorithm, that's what my algorithm is showing me. It's showing me that everybody is telling you, oh, go and leave your job and stuff like this. You have to be an entrepreneur. And I have to be very honest here by recognizing this. So from what I can see, and what I can see here in Bali, where I am, where everybody's saying the same thing, people want you to believe that the only way for you to get anywhere is to basically start a business or something. Okay, and you need to stop everything you're doing. You need to start a business. First of all, this is the last thing I will ever tell you. I will never tell anybody, dude, just stop everything and go start a business. First of all, so it's not even first of all. First of all, I'll never do that. What I recommend people is, if you really want to do this, all right, that's the main thing. You don't have to, right? If you really want to do this, then what I recommend you do is you start something on the side. Okay, you take whatever time it's necessary for that. So don't take whatever time is necessary in the sense that I can do it, in 5 years. No, just be patient. Okay, just put in the repetitions, and after you have, I'll recommend 6 months of pretty consistent results that will tell you that you now have a system, you now have something that's repeatable. Then at this point, you can consider leaving your job. Maybe you don't want to leave the job. You don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, you do not have to. So me, this is what I did. I had like 7 or 8 months of consecutive like income that was like 3-4 times what I was making at work. And then at that point, I was pretty confident that, well, you know what, I can leave now because I want it. Some people don't, right? Some people don't want to leave simply because the issue with this whole employee and stuff is not, that's not the core issue. The core issue is, do you like what you're doing, yes or no? Right? If you like what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you're an employee or a CEO. It does not matter. It doesn't. Okay, so there's no plan of one fits all of, oh, okay, leave everything behind now, or wait 6 months and you leave everything behind, or stay, or it really depends on you. You don't listen to people who will tell you what you need to be doing with with your life, in a sense. So you can listen to kind of like testimonials and a panel of options that people will give you, and they will give you hopefully their experience. So this is what I'm doing. I cannot tell you stuff that I haven't done. Okay, I will only tell you what I've done. And then from there you will have to internalize it and see, does it align with what I want to do? And then afterwards, if it does, then by any means go out and do it, right? But you shouldn't be just going out and do something because someone said it on the video. Okay, so yeah. So what I will advise is, if you, of course, if you want to do it, right, is wait a few months so that it's not a fluke. Okay, but the one of the big issues is, from what I can see here, people do not realize that you could make uh, this kind of like the same amount of money as the small business that you want to build without the risk, right? And I think that's a lot better. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is, what if you could earn, let's say you get a promotion, you get a raise, that will give you an extra $500 a month, without you having to go and build your own business and take all this risk and all that kind of stuff. Would you take it? Probably. Well, hopefully you guys can hear the someone is doing some work. I'm sorry about that, but probably, right? So think in those terms as well. So what if you're able to get from management that raise that will give you the money that you're trying to get with a business? Because so it's one of those things as well. I was telling you in terms of like expectations and like completely unreasonable expectations. I'm mentoring some like entrepreneur or what's that, entrepreneurs, people who are entrepreneur within the company. And I was asking them, okay, what is the financial objective that you have? Because again, in my feed on YouTube, in my feed on Instagram or something, it is going to show me stuff that's very personal to me. And what I see is always people saying, yeah, I need 50 grand a month. That's a lot of money. And most people are going to tell you, dude, man, if I have like an extra $100 every single month with a small business that doesn't take too much time, then I'll be happy. It pays for like a lot of my bills. Okay. So when you look at this, if let's imagine your objective is you will like to have maybe another, let's say, $200, right? So that will pay for the cable, the insurance, the some of the food and blah blah blah. That would really help. That's a lot of money. So what if you could get this money directly from the place where you work, and you don't have to do all this extra stuff? I think it's a much better option, right? It's a lot easier to be able to do this. And it's one of those things that I'm going to talk about here in this live. Hopefully, if you if you're still here, I just wanted to establish a few things, like a few like kind of like ground rules. It's for me, it's more important for you to understand why I'm saying things and what my core values and my chain of thought is, more than the actual, okay, this is how you do it. Okay, so now that this is established, is I'm going to give you like a few tips, and these are things that they worked for me. I cannot tell you stuff that I haven't done, and I won't. Right? I could tell you some story about how this guy did this and blah blah blah, but what I want to give you is my own personal experience. Okay, which I haven't lived 8 billion lives, so I cannot tell you. You understand what I mean? So, first is, I want you to understand this this entrepreneur, like CEO mindset versus employee mindset. Okay, which is a myth. It's a complete myth. If you get out of this stuff that everybody's trying to sell you, you will excel as an employee. It doesn't matter if you're an employee, but by the way. So here's the thing. It's the, let's say, the corporate conspiracy that you see in every single video versus someone like me. I'm going to take my case of when I was an employee. I was working for other people. So here's the typical person who has something against the 9 to 5 and the corporate world. They basically wake up in the morning. uh, I need to go to work. My boss is a bastard and he's trying to enslave me and put me in this. I'm a cog in a machine, and this is outrageous. And I wish I could kill the boss, and blah blah blah, etc. And they go to work. How do they go? They go moonwalking like Michael Jackson, right? This is what they do. Now, how much do you think you're going to get done there, and how much you think you're going to be able to achieve? I don't think you're going to be able to achieve much. Okay. Now, you take someone like me, like how I was when I was in a situation. Okay. Let's say you take Bob and you take Martin. We have the same job. Okay. And guys, I really want you to understand this, especially if you're young, if you're getting started, because you are being like given wrong advice, and you're just no, it's not just advice, it's like a mindset that will make you miserable for the rest of your life, and that will prevent you from moving forward, in my opinion. Okay, so imagine Bob. So Bob and I, we have the same job. Bob thinks that 9 to 5 is horrible, and then there's this corporate machine that's trying to enslave us, and he comes to work. Okay, Martin, I understand something. I understand that in order for this company to be built and for the systems that we have in the company to be built, someone had to spend probably hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on the company you work at. I was working at huge companies, huge companies. There are 20,000 people in there. The systems that were there, they easily, over time, they must have spent at least $1 billion, something like that, over a span of, like, let's say 20 years, $1 billion. And Martin realizes that, you know what? I actually have access to a system that would have costed me, these guys with the sorry, I hope you can all hear this. This system would have cost me like $100 million to build. But today, I have access to that system for free, right? Now, think about this. And not only have I access to this system for free, I'm getting paid to access that system without paying for it. Do you see the difference? Right? Now, it gets even better because my company is servicing clients, big clients. So the clients that we were serving, so I'm saying my clients, it wasn't my company, but I was working with these. So we were working with Fortune 500 companies. So I have personally managed, and not just involved in, personally managed campaigns for brands like Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Skype, Ogilvy, eBay. Who else did we have? Pepsi. Who else did we have? Like huge brands, huge. Okay. And get this. So Martin has access. Martin understands because Bob has the same access. All right. Bob has the same exact access, but he doesn't understand this. Martin understands that he has access to this system for free without having to pay for it, and he's getting paid to access this damn system. But he also understands that the companies that are paying my companies are inviting me to look at their whole system, the back end of what they do, for me to help them. So I have access to the most sophisticated systems, processes, and like the result of like very smart people's minds over decades for free. And I'm getting paid for it. Do you understand? I'm getting paid for it. I am basically because when you think about it, this is what I really want you guys to think about this, is when you're an employee and it's so bad, oh my God, I'm an employee. When you're an employee, what do you get at the end of the month? You get a salary, right? Spoiler alert, you get a salary. And people said, yeah, your salary is just a bribe or something to keep you enslaved and etc. Because they've seen one video, okay? this salary. So please work with me here for a second. You get a salary. So when you start in this company, do they just like kick you like, okay, good luck, and and we'll see you there? No. What do? They train you. They train you. They give you all the equipment that you need. So which includes the computer, the software, paying the janitor, paying the electricity, blah blah blah, etc. So technically, when you look at it, when you are an employee, what is it that you actually that you're actually doing? You, if you're smart, are getting paid to learn. At the end of the day, this is what it is. Now you have two choices. Either you can think that, oh, I'm just being fed the crumbs to feed the machine, and my boss is a bastard, and I'm gonna do the strict minimum. Or you can have the other approach of, dude, these people are paying me to get smarter, and they're giving me access to all this amazing information that I never would have had if I was the CEO that everybody wants to be. Because guess what, man? When you're the CEO, you have to pay for that stuff. You want to see the stuff, you pay, you invest. You don't have to do this. You have zero risk. Okay. So more than, I will give you like more like uh like steps like 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah. But that is irrelevant. The one thing that you need to change, what I just told you there, if you understand this, your whole career is going to change. You're going to be able to make infinitely more money than the next person. Guys, I really hope you can't hear those guys. Uh, that one thing, you change that one thing. Watch this video. Like, stick with me. Watch this video, and this is going to change your whole career, your whole life, because you're not seeing the world from. There are different ways of seeing things. There is like the conspiracy, I'm a slave, and there is, dude, I have this fantastic opportunity I didn't have to pay for, and I'm getting rewarded for it. Okay. Now let's make still this parallel, and this is my story, right? Is so now I get into this company, and in this company I was assigned a mentor. Oh my god, why do they have to do it when I'm doing it live, man? Jesus. um I'm being assigned a mentor. Okay. And so the mentor is just some guy who's been there a little bit longer than you, and then they can give you some advice. And so this guy, and his name is Dominic Young. So Dominic, I don't know if you're watching. This guy has profoundly changed my life. What I'm doing today, you can see here, I'm sitting in Bali. I cannot complain about life. It's thanks to this guy and a lot of people who helped me down the road. Okay. But this guy, just by example, okay, by showing me his like professionalism and how he approached things, that was him. He understood that, dude, I have access to all that information. I will go and look. And just by looking at what he did, it gave me that edge that I had over some other people who were like, "Oh man, that's fine, I'm leaving." Dude, I was the last one in the office in every company that I was working at. I was the last one in the office, not because I was trying to look like, oh, I'm doing some work, simply because I was just genuinely interested in what we were doing, and I was doing some research. I had access to stuff. You know what I mean? And um, so imagine now the situation is, now that I understood this, my job when I started, I entered the company at the lowest possible level in the company. I was a call handler, so basically taking calls from clients. So they needed someone who speaks many languages because the company was growing, and we had clients in France, clients in Germany, in the UK, and some clients in Italy, right? And I speak all these languages. And so they needed someone who was able to take the call, basically log what the customer was complaining about, and then being able to formulate and articulate this into something that's, gather the necessary information and pass it to the engineers. Okay. And so my mentor was an engineer, right? And so one thing that I realized is that between the calls, at this point, it was a startup, so we didn't have like, it's not like the phone was ringing every 2 seconds, and And so between the calls, there was a big gap. And I could have done like, like Bob. Nah, well, I'm not doing anything. Well, there are no calls. I'm doing zero work. I just wait. I just do the bare minimum. Okay. This is Bob. This is why Bob is not going anywhere. So, me in my case, what I did is between the calls, there was the manual of the company. It was a tech company. Okay. I didn't know anything about the technology, but I got the manual. And between the calls, guess what? I was going through the manual. So in the beginning, it was like ancient Greek, right? I had no idea what this stuff said. Oh my God, man! Sorry about the background noise. I had no idea what this stuff said, right? But over time, I started, seeing patterns and stuff and understanding. Okay, what does our company actually do? So this is one thing that I will ask you. Do you know what your company actually does? Because some people are like, nah, well, that's not my problem. My problem is this. I'm a cog in this machine, so I'm this little cog there. I'm just going to worry about what this cog does. No, what does the company do? Try to figure out. You don't need to know in details. Try to figure out what the company does. So that was my thing. It's okay. What does the company do? What is the? And I was in support. Okay, I wasn't in sales. I wasn't in marketing or anything. So in support, technically, if you talk to the, let's say, the average person in support who has the 9 to 5 corporate mentality, well, they do not care. They couldn't care less about what the company actually does for the clients. Okay, they just worry about, oh, this person called and they were an idiot and they were asking to fix this, or what an idiot. Everybody knows this, right? Me, it was like, what does the company do? So I started looking at all the documentations to understand, okay, what is it that we do and how does it benefit clients? Okay. And so once I was able to understand this, I can see the value of the company. I can see the problem that on the market, and I can see the opportunity why the company went there. Now everything makes more sense. Okay. And then from there, what I did was, because I had a lot of time during the calls, I basically I asked my manager, and great guy, Jim Snedden, and we just reconnected very recently. He changed my life more than you will ever know, right? Because he trusted me. He gave me that chance. I'm going to tell you the story now. And I went to see Jim, and I said, "Hey, look, is it okay if when I don't have calls, I go and I go shadow Dominic and the other engineers?" He said, "Yeah, by any means, please go." Right? I was going there to understand. So what I want to understand is, so when I do my job, because very often in this company, because you're this cog in your 9 to 5, who's going to do the bare minimum, you just do what you were told. Oh, you have to do this. And so me, I'm like, okay, when I do this, what happens afterwards? I'm sending that over to you. What do you do with it? Right? And so I wanted to know this. The reason why you want to know this is, first of all, you have a better understanding of what your company does, and then you can have more ideas. But also, you can see stuff that they're doing that's probably taking them time, and you have a different access or something that will make it so easy for them. And I'm going to tell you what I did afterwards. And so I would go and sit with Dominic, who was my mentor, and very often that company was amazing because the team was so tight, and if you had a question, people would just stop what they were doing and they will help you out. So sometimes I was sitting with Dominic and he was explaining to me his thought process. Not click here, click there, solved, right? That doesn't help. What he was explaining to me is, okay, this is the problem that the client has. These are the usual suspects that we have. So first we need to eliminate them one by one, and then we do this and blah blah blah. So this is how I'm going through the stuff and the mindset and stuff. So I was able to learn this stuff. And what happened is, like, sometimes even him didn't know, because it's not like he knew everything. He had just been there maybe like a year before me. So we will both move and go to someone else who had higher access, and this guy will teach us stuff. Okay. So this is what I did. I basically I spent time and went and sat with the engineers to understand. Okay, after I do my job, this is what happens. So that taught me in the whole process that. So first of all, I was trying to understand what is the whole process. What is it that we're doing? Okay. Once I understood this, I can figure out where I am in the process. Okay. And then now I'm just going to go up the food chain. I'm like, okay, I'll pass you this stuff. What do you do? So now I figured that out. Okay. and and so so it really allowed me to be more kind of like efficient and make their life easier as well by requesting information that they would have had to go and look, and it would have taken them, I don't know, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But you multiply that by the number of engineers and the number of days, that's a lot of money lost for the company. So can I get that information beforehand for them? And so I just made, and not just me, we worked together to make the process more efficient. That saved a lot of time to the company. So that's like human hours. Well, at least that's how it's called in French. Is you multiply the time that it takes to do something times the number of people times the number of hours in the month. That's a lot of money for a company. And so just by doing this, I was able, with the help of all these guys, we worked together and we helped the company save an insane amount of money. Okay. And this is something that then afterwards, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how to make sure that management knows about this stuff. This is how the company will say that person deserves more money. You know what I mean? So once I did this, I realized that, hey, you know what? So once you do this, what happens next? What do all the other departments do in the company? And over time, what I ended up doing was asking permission to my manager to sometimes go and spend time with people from other departments to understand what is it that you guys do. Right? You see, you have this timeline, you have this is the company, and there are many departments, and very often you have no idea what these guys do. So now it was easier as well because I was in a startup. And in startups, what I like about startups, so the way I went from a startup where I learned like versatility, I learned like the comprehensive vision, because everything is fast, everybody is sitting next to you, you can see what happens, you can see the next steps of what's being done. It's very reactive. The hierarchy is pretty flat. You have conversations with your bosses and stuff. Things move, right? And it helped me basically get good, because there are many skills that are required of you, right? So it helped me get very, very good at not good, but have like that, this versatility. And then later I moved to like corporate, like a bigger company, where now they taught me processes. But because I knew the overhaul, like the overarching story of what we're doing, I was a lot more efficient than someone who just started in like a company where there was a silo that says, you do this, you don't worry about the rest. Okay. And so what I did is I just went to the other departments and I'm like, okay, what do you guys do? How can I help you? Right? So this, what information do you need to do your job? I say, and oh, I need that. And I'm like, oh, how do you get that? And like, man, it takes me so much time to get it. It's a nightmare. The system is always down. And I'm like, dude, I have access to that information in like 2 seconds. Right? So let me change the process, and then I will pass that information over to you. And then I made the company better. Right? You can see, like, I haven't given you like a something like, oh, use this copywriting, use this like tactics or something. I'm giving you the actual essence of it. Okay. And if you listen to this, and if you try it, you're going to see it's going to make a difference. The difference is going to be in saying, oh, the Jets are started in the pool, so hopefully it's not going to be too noisy. So I need to time when I'm making these lives, but anyway, so um, if you do this, you will be able to make a big impact in the company, and people are going to notice. Okay, I'm going to give you some tips to make sure that these things are like noticed and stuff. But this is how. Then, when it's time for you to get a raise, to get a promotion or something, then you will be able to get a promotion. So one thing that Dominic told me, and he explained, and dude, it has helped me so much in my company. I was able in my life. I was able to literally like double my salary going from one spot to the other. I was able to go to my boss and say, "Hey, give me those departments," and they always gave me the departments, simply because of what Dominic told me that I'm going to tell you now. Is so you have to think as a business owner, okay? The I'll say the priority in terms of like for the business. So I'm not saying So please don't think that I'm saying that CEOs are all goblins playing with gold coins and that's all they care about. But for the survival of the business, okay, the business has to survive to be able to pay your salary and to be able to function. So for the business to function and everything, then the company needs to either make more money or they need to save money. Okay. um yeah, make more money or save time, which it will result in saving money. Okay, so these are those things that will help your company. If you can help the company do either save money or make more money or save time, that will result in making spending less, making more anyway. Then you will be able to make more money yourself, because then you're going to be rewarded. So these are the preoccupations of management. If you understand what is important for that person, right, for that specific objective, again, please don't. I'm not saying that all the CEOs, they only care about money. They don't. Right? I don't care about the money. I care more about my people than about the money. But for the business to keep running, I need to be able to make more money or save money. Now, how do you make more money? For a company, it's not just there are like a few different ways. Either people pay more. Okay, so I increase my prices, people pay more, I make more money. Okay, or people buy more often from me, right? Or I make sure that so I can increase my prices, I can increase the frequency at which people buy, or I can increase the kind of like the average order value by adding like upsells or something like this. You have three options. Like these are the three main options. Okay, or you make sure that the company saves money. All right. So, because at the end of the day, when you say, "Oh, I make X money," what matters is not how much you make; it's how much you have in your pocket at the end of the day. Okay. Let's say I make 100, but to make that 100, then I spend 80. Well, I actually make 20. Now, if I find a way to still make 100, but this time I spend 50, guess what? I'm making more money. At the end of the day, I have 50 in my pocket when before I had 20. Okay? So these are the things that you need to keep in mind of how my actions or my the project or something that I'm going to put in place, how do they help the company pull these levers that help make more money or save money? Okay, this is all you need to figure out. Right? You don't need there's no, I don't know which field you work in, this is I'll say it's irrelevant. Regardless the field, if you answer that question, what does our company do? How can the company make more money? How can it save money? Okay, now that you understand this, you find basically to make more money, how do we increase the price? How do we justify increasing our prices? How do we get people to come back? Or how do we get people to buy more stuff? Three questions that you need to figure out. Come up with something, and then you can present it to your boss. And now for this, I have like templates and everything of how it's done. But you can see the thing is very, very simple. But it starts, again, we're here in the how to, but the most important thing is the why. It starts with the understanding that when you're an employee, you are getting paid to learn and to acquire skills, and you're given access to technology, to infrastructure that costs hundreds of millions of dollars for free, and you're getting paid for it. Right? If you understand this basic principle, you will win over Bob next to you, who basically complains about 9 to 5 and is like, "Oh, I'm a slave in the blah blah blah." He's not gonna learn anything. Okay. And I want you to understand something is because people say, your boss has the problem with being an employee is that your salary is capped and your boss's salary is not capped and stuff. Well, yes and no. I want you to give me 1 second and think with me for 1 second. Yes, temporarily. Now, why am I saying temporarily? Because your boss, in order to get to this position there, how much money did they have to spend? They spent an insane amount of money to get there. You have access to the same opportunities as your boss for free. So very often when you decide to create your own company, you have already seen the systems that work. You have already seen what works, what doesn't work, what should have been fixed, and probably some alternative options for you to rebuild the same thing for a tenth of the price. And then guess what? Your potential is a lot higher than your boss ever was. And this is, if you understand this, guys, you are going to be able to make a ton more money as as an employee. Okay, that employee thing, it doesn't mean anything. Employee is, you are getting paid by someone to get smarter and to learn and to have access to proprietary technology that would have cost $100 million out of your pocket. You do this for free. All right, that is the one thing. You change this one thing, you can change the course of your career. That is the reason why I'm sitting here, guys. That's the reason. All right. It's not because I was special or anything like this. It's simply because I had the basically common sense and basic knowledge of this fact. Okay. Now, um, then there's a way to actually go out and present things. So now that you know what matters for the survival of the company and what are the metrics that your bosses are going to look at, then it's just a matter of knowing how you're going to formulate that to them and how you're going to present that to them. Okay, and there are ways of doing this. So me, I've done it again. I've done it in my career, all like following there's a template that my buddy Dominic gave me, and I've used it like so many times. And I will tell you a story, guys. So I was working in this company, and I had a really really good salary, and I was able to shape the job just like I wanted. And that's one other thing that I want you guys to know. People feel like, oh, I'm an employee, I don't have a choice, I don't have a say in blah blah blah. Please, guys, please understand something. Let's imagine I need a gardener. Okay, I hire a gardener. Why? Because they know stuff about flowers. I do not know the first thing about flowers. Okay, that's the reason why I hired the guy in the first place. Okay, so if I'm smart enough, I am not the one who's going to tell them, oh, you cut this yellow flower this way because blah blah blah. I don't know, so I trust them to know what needs to be done. Okay, and so if you have a good manager, it's not even if you have a good manager, you can basically not force the hand of the manager, but you can get the manager to realize something is, dude, I am the expert here. You hired me for this. So the reason why you hired me is because I'm good at what I do. And for me to be good at what I do, this is the process that I followed. So this is the process that I'm going to follow. And this is what I did. I basically told my bosses, I said, look, for me to be good at my job, and my job was awesome. So, it was awesome. So 50% of my job was to basically like monitor the infrastructure and make sure that I could pick up stuff before it happens. Okay. Uh, well, 50% of what I thought I designed the job to be, instead of being reactive and there's a fire and I need to put it out. I put in place systems that will monitor things and that will tell me, hey, there's a problem here, fix it before it happens. Now, the second thing was, I told my boss, dude, the relationships I have to build with the partners are super important, because when we have a problem, I can just pick up the phone and I can call these guys. So what I need to do is I need to travel. You need to send me to very cool conferences in the US, all over the US and all over Europe, so I can go. And then I will go and play tennis with these guys. We play poker. We go out, have some fun. We go party together and stuff like that. So that next time I need something, I call them. And this is what my job was, right? But that wasn't on the job description. I basically told the boss, if you want the results that you hired me for, this is what you need. This is what needs to happen. And so, for this reason, dude, people were like, dude, you're traveling all the time. I'm like, yeah. And so I went to like conferences like everywhere, like all over the US, like, San Francisco, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. We had conferences in Barcelona, conferences, and I was always there. Just playing, poker, tennis with people. Oh, let's go play basketball and I make friends. Okay. So that's one thing that you have to understand as well. People say, "Oh, I'm an employee, I have zero power." You do have power, right? They hire you because, especially if you're a specialist, they hire you because you have a methodology that works. So please know it. And so anyway, I was telling you this because now I had this really cool job. I was well paid, and I loved my job. right? I'm not going to be, again, remember I told you, I'm not going to be the one, it's not going to be the sales video that you hear all the time. Yeah, your job is terrible and you should hate your boss and the industry is against you. Hey, you should hate that job. I loved my job. I loved my job, man. I was happy. I would go to work. I was happy. All right. And, so I had a pretty good job and a really good salary. Now, there's this company who wants to hire me. And so they basically, they told me that they wanted to give me like 50% more money than I already had. So they asked me, how much do you make? I lied a little bit, and I said, well, for me to leave, dude, I have a really comfortable situation here. I don't see why I will leave. You know what you're leaving. You don't know what's on the other side over there. So unless you make it worth my while, I'm not going anywhere. So they gave me 50% more money. And I was ready to sign the paper, right? Like honestly, they sent me the contract. I was ready to sign. Now there's these Americans. So I was back in France at that time. Now these Americans, they call me out of the blue and they're like, dude, we want you. And I'm like, well, and I'm like, dude, I already have a cool job that I like. I have an offer for 50% more. Let me go. Let me be bold. And I said, yeah, why not? And they said, how much you want? I doubled my salary. So I basically I did like a 120 like I more than doubled my salary. I said, this is how much I want. And they were like, yeah, no worries. I was like, what? So in addition to that, I told them, dude, for personal reasons, I have to go live in Mallorca, which is like an island in Spain and stuff, which it was true actually. But I had to go there for personal reasons. So I said, unless I work from there, I'm not going to work for you. And they're like, yeah, no worries. And so that was, guys, that was back in 2009. So people think that, the remote work and blah, blah, blah started with COVID. That was 2009. I was working remotely. I was getting paid like, really, really well. Life was good. But it was because, again, as I said, I've always had this mentality of the company is giving me access to all this amazing information. Let me take advantage of it. Let me learn from it. Every time there was an opportunity to go to see a client, like a very sophisticated client, typically people are like, oh, no, I don't want to go, blah, blah, blah. I will go, man. I will go. I will ask questions. I go there. Like we had meetings with like Fortune 500 companies. I will go to the meeting and I will ask questions. Oh, how does it work in the back end? Can you show me blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, wow, man, I never thought of this. This is genius. And now I have my little black book where I'm writing stuff down about how, like Procter and Gamble, they had amazing stuff running in the background, like Coca-Cola, stuff that you cannot even imagine. I never would have imagined this. Now, if one day I want to start my business, guess what? I already have these amazing things that you don't see because it's in the back end. Okay. So anyway, when I said how you're going to be able to make more money as an employee is just by changing this mentality of all this very expensive and proprietary and hidden information is I have access to it. Make the most of it. Okay. You go and you study. All right. You study it and you make sure to understand what your company does. So what is that our company does? Now, what does my department do? So what is it that the company does? Okay. So what problem is it that they're solving? From there is kind of like, how do we do this? Like, what does each department do? How can I help these departments be more efficient, save money, save time, and blah, blah, blah. And then you put this stuff together. Okay. And then afterwards, you can go and see your manager, and basically you will have, because this is one thing that I want you guys to understand. People think that being the boss is awesome. Oh man, I'm the CEO, I'm blah, blah, blah. I will tell you something. Being the boss is terribly lonely. And it's not just, I'm going to give you like a real life situation, and you're probably going to agree with me. So let's say you are in the kitchen at lunch, with everybody and you're laughing. Ha ha ha. Did you see the movie yesterday? Ha, everybody's laughing, having fun. Boss comes in. What happens? Everybody stops laughing. Nobody says anything anymore. Nobody is talking to you. When you're the boss, dude, nobody is talking to you. You have no idea what's happening on the field. No idea. Now, you know what bosses like? They like someone who is their eyes on the field because they don't know. Nobody is willing to tell them. If you like now, what they're looking for is someone who on the field understands what the company does and is able to analyze situations, see gaps,
see opportunities, see problems, and report to them. That's all you have to do. You can say, hey, you can go to your boss and you can say, hey, I'm sorry, Stuart, do you have a minute? I take all the calls from clients and blah blah blah. And so what I've seen is in the last 6 months, clients, they seem to be complaining about blah 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 blah. I don't know exactly where that comes from, but maybe we should look. Your boss is going to thank you for it, and they're going to be like, this person, this Martin guy, he's going somewhere, he's going places. I need people like this, because you cannot have one person in the company who centralizes all the strategy, all the thinking and stuff. They want to outsource that to trusted people. And you will be one of them. It's not like you even have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to document stuff that happens on the field, simply by understanding that, dude, being the boss, it sucks. It's very lonely. It is very lonely. Okay. Now there are ways of making that happen, right? So there's a format, and I have templates. So over time, you guys know me. I'm kind of like a systems guy, and I came up with like a template that I've used every single time, and I was able to get everything I wanted. Not because of I was tricking management. It's because I had done the all the work that I told you there. It was just how to present it to them and how to get the desired outcome. Okay. So at the end of the day, if you do this, you will be able to make, let's say, for example, you're able to get a raise that will get you, let's say, $200 more extra every single month. This is the equivalent of you starting that business that you wanted because you wanted those $200, right? And you have fewer risks. You don't have the stress. You don't have the blah, blah, blah. And you don't have to go do something, which is starting this business that maybe you didn't want to start. It was just a way for you to get those $200. You will be able to get it by being in the same company, And oh my God, what? So hopefully, guys, I hope you can't hear and this microphone is actually pretty powerful, so probably you can hear the background. I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, guys. So now there's a way to go out and present it to management, but that's all you need to do. And it's not hard. Is the job that you're doing every day, just now, instead of just executing the task, take two minutes to analyze it, right? See trends, right? Okay, well, I noticed that a lot of clients have been asking about this stuff. Maybe we should talk to the development team, and maybe that's something that we need to look at. And maybe you find this huge gap in the market, all right? So, so my process has always been, I do this stuff, and then I go see my managers, and then I basically, this is, now if you want the templates and stuff, I will be like, you'll have a way, I will put some links or something for you guys to go get it, right? Always work for me. Is you will basically tell the boss, so understanding that your boss is probably busy, okay? So don't make a long essay of like 300 pages. They're not going to read it. They're busy. So understanding that, you can adapt the communication. So the communication is going to be something very succinct with bullet points. Okay, this is blam, blam, blam. What I suggest is let's book a meeting, and then I will explain to you the nitty-gritty of stuff. They're going to be like, oh, this is fantastic. This guy is going places. They're helping me with the business. They're analyzing for me. I can outsource some of the thinking to them. Now you get to a meeting. And then in this meeting, you're going to present you're basically going to show your boss that you're the real deal. You understand the market. You understand what the company does. You understand the opportunities. And you have a plan for the company to do better in those areas that I told you. Either the company makes more money, or it saves money, or it saves time, which at the end of the day, it will stimulate the other things, okay? You basically show them that you have a plan for one of those things to happen. And then afterwards, you basically lay out this plan, and you give them an offer that they cannot refuse. And if you want to know all the details about stuff, then I will have something for you guys. I have this thing that I've used. Not only me, but I gave it to many different people, including I had one of my girlfriends back in the days. She was, not that I had girlfriends at the same time, please. One of my ex-girlfriend, she was running for a promotion, okay? And there was, obviously there are other people. who were in line for the promotion, and she was like, "Oh man, I really need a promotion." I gave her that, and I said, "Do this." She got the promotion, right? And everybody who used this, they were able to get the promotion because it's just basic logic. You're not um, you're not promising something that's very abstract. You're demonstrating that there's a plan and that will benefit the company, and here's how the plan needs to be laid out, and then there's the magic touch that will happen, and this is how you're going to make more money as an employee, quote unquote. Okay. um, and again, because you know I'm just being very honest with you guys, dude. Like being an employee, being an entrepreneur. Yeah, there are days where it sucks. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. So, is it something that you want to do because you really want to be an entrepreneur, or you wanted to be an entrepreneur because of the extra money or the extra lifestyle that you wanted to have? So if you could have that lifestyle without the stress and the blah blah blah, would you do it? Some people will say, "Oh no, I'm really into entrepreneurship, and that's the reason why I'm going in." Other people will tell you, "Dude, I was going to entrepreneurship because I thought this was the only way," but it's not. Okay, so that is kind of like how you want to go about getting more money as an employee. And dude, you can make infinitely more money, like honestly. So here in this case, remember that company who contacted me. So my here's the thing. The I'm gonna give you the numbers, right? The numbers are like kind of irrelevant and stuff, but I'm gonna give you the numbers. So my salary at the time in the company where I was, and I told you I was able to define my own job. I told my boss, dude, this is how the job needs to be done. So I had a job that I absolutely loved. I had a blast going to work every single day. I had a really good job. My salary was 50,000 euros, like net. Okay. I don't know, like depending on the taxes and blah, 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 but the net was 50,000 euros a year. Okay. Not a month. I wasn't making that much money. Okay. 50,000 euros. Now, this other company, another French company who wanted to basically hire me, when they asked me, "Hey, how much you're making?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm making 65, man." And so, I mean, for me to leave the thing that I have, dude, I'm making 65. I'm good, man. I'm happy. I'm going to leave a very stable and very pleasant situation. I don't know what I'm getting at your end. So unless you give me 75, I'm not going to move, right? It's too much. It's too risky a move for me. So they said, "Yeah, 75 it is." Bam. Okay. And now when I was ready to sign, there's these Americans who came and they said, "Hey, we want you." And so I said, "Look, I already have a job. I already have an offer. Let me be bold." And this is how much you want. I said, "I want 120 grand, like net." So unless I do that, and that's what they gave me. And so you can see that I went from, and these are the real numbers, guys. Okay. I'm not going to tell you I was making $1 million a year. No, no, no. I wasn't making $1 million a year, but that's already a lot of money. This is a lot of money. And I'm going to touch base on that later. But I went from 50 to 120. So this is 70 grand, right? 70 grand. What is it? It's like 6,000. Yeah, it's like $6,000 extra every single month. $6,000, right? That this is obviously this is an extreme case, right? But I'm basically showing you that it's possible for you to reach that goal of I want to have an extra $3,000 per month, and then for this I need to go out and build this business. I'm showing you another alternative that some people are not, like most people are not going to tell you about, because guess what? It means, well, you're not going to buy my course on my dropshipping stuff, right? Because they're trying to sell you something. Me, I'm just being I like to be honest with people. You have options. You have more options than you think, right? The same thing that you have more options than you think and more leverage than you think, even as a quote unquote employee. The company needs you, right? You have knowledge. Like, for example, if you leave, the company is in trouble. You know how much knowledge you live with and how much like company, like the company culture and stuff. They don't think that in the negotiation it's only them who can pull the thing. It's you have more power than you think. So right there, I was able to add an extra 70,000 euros a year to my income without having to start a business. You understand? And just by changing that mindset in the beginning of oh, I'm a cog in the machine. I'll do the bare minimum. Why did they give me this money? Now, here's the thing. Like, why did they give me the money? Did they give me the money just because? No, it's because I was good. I was good at what I was doing. But the reason why I was good is because I understood that I had access to so much information, like amazing strategy built by, like really smart people. And then I studied. That's all I did. And now there's also one other thing that I want you guys, and I forget about this because, it's in this format. I didn't write anything down. This is like live, right? One thing that you need to understand, guys, and it's beyond me that people do not realize this, and people don't do this. And this is, and I'm going to tell you my own story as well, is please understand that the better you do, the smarter you are, and the more competent you are, the more the company will benefit. It's in their best interest to train you well and to make sure that you excel. If you excel, they will make more money. They will make more money. They will save more money. They will save time. Any one of those. Okay. And so the company, if it makes sense, they will pay for your training. There's in your company, if you're working for a big company, even I don't know, I don't know if it's a law in France or something, but there is the companies, they need to pay a certain percentage of their revenue to a training program. There is money that's being put in a pool so that employees can get training. Nobody is using it. People are just complaining. People are like, well, I hear people like, oh man, you know what? This job, I don't like this job because I'm not learning anything anymore. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. It is not the fault of the company if you're not learning anything anymore. It is yours because there's so many things to learn. You go sit down with Bob from accounting and you're going to learn accounting. And then you go with Susan from marketing and then you're going to learn marketing. There's so many things that you can learn. Learn what the company does and get training from the company. It's paid for. Now, in my case, and so this is going to be another example. Instead of you giving you theories, I'm giving you my thought process. So when I told you in this company, there were like 3 different levels. There was the level 0, which was call handler. So I was the call handler. Then there was level 1, which was like engineer, like the kind of like low level engineer. There was and like second level of an engineer as a little bit more kind of like experience, and then there was third level, which is escalation engineer. Okay, and so my goal was I will go all the way to the escalation engineer, and then from there I need to branch out to something else. And so what I did is you just need to go and ask, in order for me to get to this, what skills do I need? Right. So for someone to get this position, there's a job description. What is on that job description? What do I need to do? Right. And then from there, you either acquire the skills or you can get the company to pay for those skills. So here's what happened. In our company, we had 1% in the escalation. 1. Okay. And 1 is a very dangerous number in business, my friends, because if that 1% leaves, we are screwed. Okay. And by me, I went to management and I said, look, if this person leaves, and there were signs that he would leave because his wife did not like it. That was back in England. It was raining. She was from a sunny country. And she was like, dude, I had enough of this rain. She wasn't happy. And I was like, dude, this guy can quit tomorrow. We're dead. And so for a business to be competitive and stuff, what we need to do, we need to have at least 2 people there. So before that happens, before he leaves, we need another person there. And I will be that person. So for me to get there, what do I need to know? And they told me, here's the job spec. This is what you need to know. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do this. I need training. So my boss told me, well, please look around for some training. If you find the training, the company is going to pay for it. I looked up, found training. The training was like $10,000 that as a CEO, right, that people want to be today, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and stuff, that would have been out of my pocket. It wasn't out of my pocket. It was out of the pocket of the company because they knew that I understood the business, and it's in the interest of the company because otherwise we're doomed. And so I was able to get really high-end training and I was able to get better, right? So use this stuff. Use it. Company pays for you to get smart. Once you're smarter, you're more valuable, and then you can make more money. All right, and all this all this time, you're getting paid to do this. right? And so it is beyond me. When I'm here and I hear all this young generation of, yeah, I will never work for anybody because you're a slave and you're blah blah blah, and I'm like, dude, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You've seen one marketing video of someone who obviously wanted to sell you a course that says, "Oh, go start your entrepreneurship, your own business," and you just took it as a like a truth, right? But no, that's not how it works. And so yeah, that's what I did. So the company paid for a lot of my trainings, a lot of my certifications and stuff. It was paid for by the company, uh, because all this, because I had the right mindset. Because I had the right mindset, I was able to uh, get better by myself by looking, putting all this stuff that I told you in place, looking at, okay, how does the company work, blah blah blah, and then afterwards getting the help of the company to get me smarter, right? And then at this point I become very good at what I do. And then when you're good at what you do, people will pay a premium for you. Okay. And this whole thing, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh man, it happened just like overnight. um it took me some time to do this. Now you can, if you have a plan, a plan that I can give you. Now you can actually make it work very, like, a lot faster by just looking back at information that you already have, or observations that you've already made before, but you never actually used it to your advantage to get what is it that you wanted. So it can go actually very, very fast. Okay, you just need to kind of like understand the mechanics and what I just told you here, right? And so yeah, that's how you make more money. Again, I told you I was able to make an extra 70 grand a year. This is more than 6,000 euros every single month, without having to start a business, without having to risk anything, doing sleepless nights and stuff. Now yes, I ended up starting my own business and stuff later, but yeah, years later. That was back in like 2005, like those stories that I'm telling you, 2005 until like 2009, right? I started my business way later, right? And why was I able to start my business is because all these previous years, guess what? I was looking at the most sophisticated systems on the planet and for free, and I was getting paid for it. And when I had to start my own business, dude, I had a blueprint of stuff that delivered billions of dollars. Like, you can't even imagine, dude. These are Fortune 500 companies. Whatever they were using was working and was generating billions of dollars. If I use it, don't you think I have an edge over someone who, like Bob, is I'm a cog in the machine? Okay, so that is what I if you want to be able to make more money as an employee, that's what you need to do, the core foundation of what you need to do. So what I told you there, the beauty of this is it's regardless what industry or whatever you're in, regardless. Okay, so I've given you the principle. This is the overarching principle. Now for you to get the specifics and exactly what to say, how to present it, how to blah blah blah, or not how to present it, how I did it. Okay, I mean, dude, there are so many other ways of doing this. There are people who've done it way better than me, right? There are people who made, I was like, again, in that case, I was able to go to 120 grand. Like, there are people who make like 20 million, right? So, this is not the only, if not the best thing. That it was the best for me. It always worked. Okay. And given your objective, I don't know what your objective is in terms of, your goal, in terms of like income or something that you want to reach, right? It will be more than enough, because that's one other thing that I wanted to touch base on is people have lost kind of like track of reality because of all the internet stuff. Or maybe again it's me, because my feed is showing me these people. So I don't know. Maybe you will be able to tell me, make a comment or something if you're still here. Maybe you'll be able to tell me, is it just me, or everybody, makes you believe that you need to make at least like, 10 grand a month or something. Dude, 10 grand is a lot of money. Do you know how much money 10 grand is? That's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. But again, it could be my feed. So are you one of those people? And I'm very surprised, actually, and I shouldn't be, I think. And this is when I realized the power of algorithms. Is sometimes I talk to people and they're like, man, yeah, so they come to me because they want to start this business, right? And they're like, yeah, if I could have another like 50 euros at the end of the month, I'll be happy. And I'm like, 50 euros? And for me, it sounds so low, but maybe because I've been conditioned to all these people saying you need to make like 100K or something. You know what I mean? But maybe it's your case. Maybe you maybe another like 100 euros, $100 will do everything for you. So now, good news is you don't need to start a business for this. You can easily get that from your company, easily, right? And one exercise that I do when I work with people is I'm basically trying to get them to understand how much money do you actually need, right? Because there is this number that you think you need or you think is acceptable for society to be a man or something, but when you watch those YouTube videos, but how much money do you actually need, right? So like me, I have a very simple life, man. My life is so simple. I don't need much money to, like, honestly, like this t-shirt. I've had this t-shirt for I think maybe close to like 8 years. Like these pants here, I bought them for maybe like $3 or something like that. Something like this, right? Um, uh, I don't need much. My life is very simple. So when I do this exercise, even for me, I realize, dude, you don't actually need to have 100 grand or something like this. What is the expectation? Now, when you have this number, please realize that you could get this number from your company directly by just applying there's a process that I can lay out for you. I can leave if you guys are interested, I will leave a link. It's all documented. I used it so many times. It worked like gangbusters, and it just makes sense. But you can get that from your company, okay? And I guess that's kind of like how you make money, how you can make more money as an employee. It starts with the mindset stuff. Let me check the time here because I have to go do something. Oh, madre de Dios. Okay, so so I didn't realize that I spoke that long. But you know what? Here's the thing. Before I go, I just wanted to say this for whoever is going to watch this, right? I'm really loving this format. Now, am I going to get a lot of views and stuff? No, I don't. I don't think I am. If someone watches this and they apply this and they have results, I'm going to be very happy. But the one thing that I'm very happy about and proud about this format is so previously what I was trying to do is I was looking at, what are these YouTubers doing, and they have this like flashy background with like strobe lights and stuff. I need to do the same thing. I need to have this really cool camera and blah blah blah, etc. And I was doing this. It wasn't me. It's exhausting. It's very annoying. And there's so many constraints of, the light is not good. I have this laptop there. I pay God knows how much money for this laptop. The camera is terrible. It is terrible. So I have this camera there that I bought for I said, if I'm on the road, maybe I can have a webcam that's better than the one that I had, and I bought this one. It's not the best or anything, but it does the job, right? And I realized that, dude, like, why do I need to copy all these folks? I have this bin bag. So this bin bag, so you see I have a pool here. I don't actually use the pool as much as I should. Anyway, that's not the point. I have this bin bag. I don't use the damn bin bag. And I'm like, dude, I need to use the bin bag. I'm here. It's a tropical country. It's a nice setting and stuff. Why don't I just take like, honestly, my setup is like, I have this mic. You can see there's the cord, which is attached to my computer. It's attached to this. Oh, I don't know. No, you cannot see it. And I have my computer here. So my computer is on the floor, right? Let me make sure I don't break anything. My computer is just sitting there on the floor. I have a tripod with this camera that I bought, and I just pulled my mic off the stand or stuff, and I just make my content here. Right? It's awesome. It's super easy for me to do because it's easy. It's enjoyable. Then I can do it every day. And if I do it every day, then stuff can happen. There's one of you guys who's gonna find value in this content, and it will be awesome. And for me, even for me, this is very cool. It's very cool. That gives me content. Just me for my own business and stuff. It gives me content every single day. With this live here, I will be able to extract about 40, yeah, 40 like small clips, right? Probably 40 of them. If I said something smart, right? And then I take that, I created my own, I have my own automation. I will put that in an automation and then it's going to do the rest, all right? And dude, it's so easy. I don't have, it's natural. I'm talking naturally. I'm not playing some role or reading a script or something. And I've already seen the results of this. So since I started these lives, and this is something that I will start documenting. I checked the analytics for my YouTube yesterday because I never do. Right, YouTube is not my main. It's not my main channel or anything. Right, I have stuff on YouTube that is being posted there by my automation and stuff, but it's not like I'm a like. Well, technically, if you're a YouTuber, you're a YouTuber, but it's not what I do, right? But yesterday, I saw this huge spike, like huge, that, and it coincided with the moment I started doing these lives, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So let me make more lives, and by making these lives easy and enjoyable for me, dude, I think sky's the limit. All right. So my next step is going to be so looking at this trend, understanding. So for this is the first time that I actually went into the analytics, and I saw that in YouTube they can give you suggestions of other types of content that will be of interest. So this was one of them, for example. Um, and so yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. I have a unique setting. I don't have to go and do some shenanigans and put some strobe lights and stuff. This is where I live, man. I just sit here, computer on the floor, and just do my show. Anyway, well, that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope that you guys got some value out of this live. If you did, and if you are interested, and if you want someone who's real, like I cannot be like more honest with you guys. I like you do not have to go start a business. Okay, my whole business is around, oh, be an entrepreneur and start this business and do this and blah blah blah. Like I'll say, if you look at it from the outside, yes, a lot of the strategies that I use, you could actually use it as an employee as well to make your company better and then get more money from your company, to be honest, right? But I'm not the person who's going to tell you, oh, if you're an employee, you suck and you should be ashamed and stuff. If you're an employee, stay an employee. It's the best. It's the best. Okay. And if I can help you in that position that you're here right now, then I will, and I will be very realistic and honest with you guys. You do not need to go start your own business. You don't. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of things that suck, and there are a lot of things that are so amazing when you're working. So there's like, oh, I don't like to work for someone, right? Like very often you're working with someone. If you're working with the right person who's inspiring, who's mentoring you, who's just by their actions, they're showing you the example and stuff. They understand your value and everything, dude. Why wouldn't you? Right? If I had the chance to go and work with, for Jeff Bezos or work for Bill Gates or work for a Warren Buffett, I will definitely go out and do it. I do not understand these people who think they're who, oh, I know everything, blah blah blah. You don't. You don't. Even like, let's say, people doing the same exact thing as I'm doing, we do it very differently. So I would even go and work with them to see how they're doing it. We're doing this. We're supposed to be going in the same direction, but we take different routes. So even not. So don't assume that, oh man, I know everything. You don't. And again, learning from other people, other people's mistake, other people's money, right? They invest a lot of cash in those things. It's fabulous. Okay. And again, before I go, is please next time, and I think you need more people like this. Please, next time you see one of these posts on the internet that tells you, yeah, being an employee sucks and people who are employees, they should be ashamed, please speak up, because nobody does. I remember that conversation I told you in the beginning. um that person was, yeah, being an employee shouldn't be an employee, it sucks and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, like, do you understand how you're shaming people every single day? They open their LinkedIn. Go open your LinkedIn, and this is what you're going to see. Yeah, you need to be a boss if you're an employee, or somebody, you're an idiot. And what do you think it does to people? right? Everywhere you read something is, oh, you're an idiot. It's not true. So next time you see something like this and people will say complete BS like this, please say something. We have to change this industry, right? There's people, they're honest people who wake up every single day to go do a job that they love, a job that actually has a like utility in the world. And there are people whose job is completely pointless. I'm very sorry, right? So, but if you work in a hospital, you're a nurse, all right? You're a doctor. You are even a garbage man. You are you're how do you say, like a principal in school. Your job matters more than mine. What does my job do in the grand scheme of things? I'll be honest with you, it does nothing in compared to what you do. You save lives, you shape the next generation, you do stuff. And there are people on the internet who, because everybody, the keyboard warriors, right? Behind the keyboard, it's very, very easy to go and shame people. What you do does not matter. Your marketing does not matter. It doesn't change the world. Okay. As much as I like what I do and I think it's awesome, I'm very honest as well. And I look at things. What I do, it doesn't impact the world as much as what a teacher does. If you're a teacher and you're watching this, please understand there are people always, bad mouthing teachers and stuff. I respect you. You are the people who shape that generation, who help me and help other generations. Your job matters more than mine. I just do some fancy marketing that doesn't do much in this world. Okay. So please, next time, I need more people who stand up for that stuff. Next time you hear people saying this nonsense about, oh, well, employees, no, 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 it sucks, you'll never get anywhere, you never. Please say something. That's what I'm asking. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for the attention. It was a pleasure for me to do this, and I guess I'm gonna do one every single day, one of these things next to the pool. Hopefully the sound wasn't too bad and there's not too much pollution. There were some guys, and I was complaining like, oh, they're cutting, they're just doing their job. See, it will happen to me as well. Sometimes you in the heat of the moment you'll say stupid things, right? But what is it that they're doing matters more than what I'm doing here, doing some marketing or whatever, right? They were doing their job, their honest job and stuff, and I'm complaining that, oh man, it's noisy. You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, I have to go. There's some stuff that I have to do. It was an absolute pleasure doing this live, and I'm gonna make lives every single day. Because it could help even just one person, but also it helps me in terms of like content here. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, you guys have a good one. Bye bye, and don't forget, if you do like the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you found some value, and I will leave a link if you guys want the resource that I was telling you about. Then I will make sure to leave a link there if you guys want to check it out. That's pretty much it, guys. See you. Bye.